about the Gomi fight, how that went. I mean, amazing fight.
Thank you. We just watched it today, actually. I knew I was gonna win the fight. I took a year off at that time. I wasn't into fighting after the whole UFC trip and this and that. And then I was like, you know what? I don't have it anymore. I was trying to find who I was. I was trying to find the fighter. I was trying to find myself. I didn't know who I was for a long time. I wasn't the guy who knocked out Din Thomas. I wasn't the guy who knocked out Kau Uno. I didn't know who I was. I was trying to find myself. I took a year off. I was trying to train with all these different people. And then I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to start teaching. And as I was trying to be all professional about it, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be professional anymore about fighting. All I'm going to do is just train for fun. This is only for fun. I used to take training so serious. It meant so much, and it was just like, that's not what life is about. You know what I mean? It's about having fun, having a good time, and doing what you want to do, and doing all this kind of stuff. And so I took the year off, and then exactly how Renzo is now. That's why I know how he feels. Like something was missing in my life. And then I started talking to JD, and he's like, the Rumble on the Rock, he started getting it bigger. He's like, you know what, I want to put a show together in Honolulu. I told him, you know what, let me fight on it. And you know what, get me the best guy. Who's number one right now, 155? Who else is there? Because I remember when me and Chuck went down to fight, when Chuck went down to fight Randy Couture, we were down there, and I hadn't fought for a year. I had a bad fight against Sarah. I had a draw with Uno. I hadn't fought for a year. And then I opened the full contact fighter, and I looked, and I was number one in the world at 155. I was like, I am the best. I really am the best. I was looking at the paper, and I showed Chuck, and he's like, man, I can't believe it, because Chuck was like number 2 or something on the thing. And I was like, man, I am the best. I really am the best in the world. I was looking at that. I freaking closed the magazine, and I just knew it right there. I am the best. And then after that, I told JD, get the best fight you possibly can. He's like, who do you think? I'm like, Gomi. Gomi's number one right now. That's the guy to beat. You know what I mean? Nobody ever gave him a good ass kicking. Let's do it. Let's kick Gomi's ass. And so I knew. I went there. I was just like, okay, I'm going to beat Gomi. And then that's how the fight went. Went in there. Don't get me wrong. It was tough. He's tough. But I went in there to do the job, finish the job, and it was over.
Yeah, amazing fight. Absolutely.
Good fight.
Yeah. And that was at 155. Yeah?
155.
So you beat the best at 155. So I assume the mindset was, who's the best in the world at 170?
Exactly.
So
Dana White came down because I think the UFC was trying to I was fighting bad, you know, and it's strictly business. That's why I don't mind when they do strictly business to me, but I don't like when they get emotional with me when I do strictly business with them. But anyway, it's strictly business. I had some bad fights, you know, the Sarah fight, the Uno fight. Who knew where my career was going? Strictly business. So BJ, if you want to fight again in the UFC, you're going to be in the prelims. And I was like, I'm not a preliminary fighter, you know what I mean? The kind of guy that should be in the main event. That's what I was telling them, you know, telling them that kind of stuff the whole time. And they're like, if you want to fight again, you'll be in the prelims. I'm like, I won't fight then. I'm not going to fight if I'm going to be in the preliminary fight. So I didn't do it, this and that. I ended up fighting Gomi. But Dana White, me and Dana White still got it. It was business. I understand. I wasn't fighting well. I belonged in the preliminaries how I was fighting. You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with that. I did, but I just wasn't going to lower my standards to do that. So, but me and Dana White, everything was still cool because I knew it was strictly business, okay? So he comes down, he sees me beat up Gomi, he's all happy. So I call him, I'm like, Dana, who's there to fight? We're talking. He's like, I don't know about this lightweight division, what we're going to do, we don't know. I said, you know what? Go get Sean Shirk on the phone. I want to fight Sean Shirk. And he's like, what? He's like, you want to fight Shirk? He's like, that's in 170. I'm like, perfect. He's like, you sure? You sure you want to go up? There's still a lot of guys at 155 or whatever. You're going to be too small. I said, no, put the fight together. Then he says, you know what? I hate Sean Shirk. That's what he said. You know what? I don't like him. They dicked me over with some stuff. With the Hughes fight, they tried to get more money out of me. They didn't tell me everything. He said, we had bad contract negotiations with Shirk. We don't want him back in the UFC. I said, okay. He said, what about Hughes? Would you fight Hughes? And I told him, that's the only reason why I wanted to fight Shirk. so nobody else could complain. I want to fight Hughes. He said, you know what? Hughes beat everybody at 170. He's got nobody else to fight. You can fight the winner of Hughes and Trigg. I said, send me the contract. My contract I got sent was for the winner of Hughes and Trigg. It wasn't even for Hughes. It was for the winner of Hughes and Trigg. As soon as he even told me, I knew I could beat Hughes about that time. About that time, I knew I could beat Hughes. I'm not going to say I knew I could beat Hughes my whole life. But right after the Gomi fight, I knew I could beat him. You know, I knew I was better than him. I knew I could beat him.
How did you know? Did you just...
You know how you're going to get up and walk out that door? Same way. Same way I knew that. That's how I knew.
You sort of try and follow the footsteps of some of the early UFC fighters.
No, that's what I feel. I don't think any of the fights should have weight classes. And that's what mixed martial arts is. This isn't boxing. This isn't kickboxing. This isn't wrestling. What was martial arts created for? The small man to fight the big man. You know what I mean? That's what this is all about. And you have all these people in there. It's like, oh, BJ takes these fights, wants to take these fights against these heavier guys and do this and do that. It's like, what sport are we talking about? The mixed martial arts was founded. Martial arts was founded on how good your technique works. You know what I mean? What's this about? You guys are trying to change the whole thing, change it around from what it was, and do all these different weight divisions and do all this stuff. When was this ever a factor? You know what I mean? True mixed martial arts, that's what it's about. The guy, can you fight this guy? If you can't, then shut up, you know? If you can, then step up, you know? I don't know where all this stuff came in. Like, oh, he only wants to fight these guys that are heavier than, because if he loses, it doesn't matter. No, it matters. You lost. It sucks. You never want to lose. You know what I mean? I'm pissed that I lost the Lyoto fight. I feel like I can beat him again, you know, or whatever. But that's what martial arts is about. Fighting anybody, anytime. You know, if I'm sitting in here and somebody walks up to the door right here and right now and he wants to fight me, I'm going to say, no, you're too big. You know what I mean? No, you're armed, you're there, you got your martial arts, that's what you got to do. You know what I mean? I don't know where all this fake weight limits and all this stuff got involved, you know? It's just, it's unreal. And people want to stay there and follow it and make that become how the sport is. It doesn't make sense, you know?